change. It's everything. It's everywhere, right? The only thing that doesn't change is change, right? Everything changes. Sometimes we initiate those changes ourselves, and sometimes they sort of inflicted on us, seems that way. And today I want to tell you about a story of my efforts to make a change. I live in this beautiful place called Unity Village as I go to school. It's my 3rd year of the 3-year program. And sometimes I just need to go back home. I just need to go back home to Texas. And this is what it looks like, home. This is home for me. And this man right here, in case he looks familiar, is here. The puppy couldn't make it. She's busy. So it was during February, last February, when I reached that point that I needed to go home. I needed change. February here, and if you remember, I'm from Texas, just put those together, and I really needed to go home, if nothing else, to thaw out. So I put everything together. I made my reservations on the flight. I put my boarding pass on my phone. I left class right away to take the 7 o'clock flight. And I'm on the way to the airport praying it doesn't snow again on me. And I'm driving and please don't snow. Okay, got to the airport, no snow. Get to the airport, stand in line. Oh, I first of all go through security. Standing in line, you know, the A2442 line. And I'm waiting, and finally the line starts moving. And I take my electronic boarding pass on my phone, and I go up. I put it under there. And I move it down, and nothing's happening. So I move it over here. I move it over there. Move it up here. Move it down there. Nothing's happening. The gate agent takes my phone. Nothing is happening. My boarding pass was invalid. I was trying to get to the gate, to get to that plane that would get me home, and I was stuck. I couldn't get through. They wouldn't let me through the gate without a boarding pass. That was the plane to get me home. I felt helpless, hopeless. I had done everything I was supposed to do, and they were not letting me through the gate. That place that if I could just get through, I could get on the plane and get home. But I turned around, and this is all I saw. It reminds me of a story in the Bible of a man at a gate. He was at the sheep gate. And some of you may have heard this story. It's in John 5. It's the only place this story shows up, in fact. It's verse 2, and I'd like to read it to you. Now in Jerusalem by the sheep gate there is a pool called in Hebrew Bethesda, which has 5 porticos. In these lay many invalids, blind, lame, and paralyzed. One man was there who had been ill for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there, he knew he had been there a long time, and he said to him, "Do you want to be made well?" The sick man answered him, "Sir, I have no one to put me into the pool when the water is stirred up, and while I'm making my way, someone else steps down ahead of me." Well, isn't that just like us humans? We are asked a question, Do you want this? Do you want to get home? Do you want this? Do you want to be well? You want to be whole? And what do we say? Maybe it's just me. It's my story. I've been here 38 years. I made it and it didn't snow. I got my boarding pass. I did everything right. They get in my way when I try to get there. Ever felt that way? If I just had the right job, I could get there. If I just, if she would just change. Or maybe, no, not me. I don't need to change. We're stuck. Just as this man was stuck. Stuck in our story, stuck in blame, stuck in our circumstances and our situations, stuck in our humanity. Here is the scene in the first century Jerusalem where Jesus is walking through. The sheep gate is a very prime spot for the emperor. Because people are going to the temple to make their sacrifice, and it's a prime spot so that people can see them. And mostly, they're pitied. It's not a very wonderful place to be, I would think. And this man has been there for 38 years. Well, we think he's been there 38 years. It says he's been ill for 38 years. Maybe he's been there, maybe he's not, but he's been there a long time because Jesus knew this. A long time. Invalid. There's another way of saying that word. It's invalid. These people were looked at as invalid. They were marginalized in their time. It talks about being lame, paralyzed, blind. Now I wonder, why would Jesus pick this man out? If there were a lot of people around there, why would he pick this one? Is it because he's the senior guy? Or, I wonder, maybe his response isn't so much like an excuse, but maybe this is the best he can come up with to describe his desire. I really want to, but these people get in my way. Maybe Jesus could hear through that desire. Do you think he could possibly be saying, change, please? And how does that work? How does it work for us to change? How do we change in the midst of hopelessness and helplessness? When we've forgotten our divine inheritance and we are spiritually lame, spiritually paralyzed, spiritually blind, what do we do? How do we move beyond that? And our song was, Rise Up. We really get out of the flow of life when we're in the helplessness and hopelessness. And here's what Jesus said in verse 8. Jesus said to him, stand up, take your mat, and walk. There you go. There's the answer. Stand up. Are you kidding? This guy has been laying there for 38 years. How's he going to stand up? What does it mean to stand up? What does it mean to stand up when we are spiritually paralyzed, lame, or blind? We just had a song about this. I think for us to stand up, we have to let go. We have to release that story, that blaming, that shaming, the stuff that we have dragged along with us for 38 years, 2 years, a week, whatever. We are not meant to live that way. We are meant to live in the flow of life. So, to stand up, we have release and let go. Standing there at the ticket gate, I had to let go. This boarding pass has no power to let me on that plane. That's a denial. That's one of our tools. It's the first step. Stand up, release, let go. Deny the power that we've given to that story, that blaming those others, that situation, those circumstances. And realign. It takes some realigning. Stand up. Stand up right now and just see what that takes. How about that? Wow, and you can even breathe differently, right? And just look around. The view is different here. Yeah. All right, you can sit down now. Thank you. Thank you for trying that. Did you see you just changed your thoughts a bit? Kind of changed your thoughts too, standing up. Okay, so stand up. We can get that. But what about take your mat? Are you kidding me? That mat he's been laying on for 38 years? Don't you think that's nasty? I would think that is just, I would want to do that. Well, I started thinking about it a little bit, and I have a mat. This is my yoga mat. And I have done a lot of struggle on this yoga mat. I have done some extreme stretches, and I have grown on this mat. And when I go to yoga class especially, I am very proud to carry this because it is part of my life. And as human beings, we just cannot leave all of that behind. If we did, I think we would forget our humanness. So we take our mat with us. It doesn't define us. It's just something we carry. I had a yoga teacher one time tell me, keep your practice on your own mat. If they would change, oh, that's not practicing on your own mat, is it? No. This is another little tidbit. Stand up, take your mat, and walk. Walk. Charles Fillmore says that walking by spirit is demonstrating the power of our Christ nature. It is a demonstration, and it is an expression of changing our actions. Stand up, take your mat, and walk. So why? Why bother with this? Well, for one, we lift ourselves up. That would be helpful, wouldn't it, sometimes? But the other thing is, we lift up the world. We can lift up the world with this. As we lift ourselves, we lift the world. Stand up. Take your mat and walk. When when we find ourselves at a gate that is not working for us, this little thing over here, it's not working for us. It doesn't define who we are. It's not who we are. It's not even what we are. We are not our circumstances. It does point out where we are in our process. It is an indication of where we are in our consciousness, not who we are. Because you know who we are? We are precious children of God. Every single one of us. And we have a divine inheritance. Stand up, take your mat, and walk. Stand up, change your perspective. Take your mat, include that humanness. It's yours. You've earned it. It's grown you to who you are now. And walk. Walk in that truth. Walk in that essence of the Christ nature that you are. Jesus doesn't do it for us. We have to do that. But that is our wholeness. That is where our healing is. Changing our views, changing our thoughts, changing our perspective, changing our direction. What doesn't change? I know something that doesn't change. Our divine nature does not change. It's always there. Always there. We forget it, but it's always there. So the next time you're at a gate and it's not working, you might just take a moment, breathe, and then the gate agent may say, "You're at the wrong gate." So, you take your boarding pass, you stand up, you take your boarding pass proudly and walk to the next right gate. The next time that happens to you, the next time you're in that place of thinking that gate is there for you, you might say, "Change, please." God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's take this into meditation. Let's just have this really deepen into our hearts and our minds and our souls. And rather than looking to the outside world, let's turn to Spirit. If you haven't already, you may want to allow your eyes to just close to the outer distractions. As we relax and breathe in this truth. And then release anything other than the truth. As we feel ourselves totally supported by our chairs, we feel our lungs expand to their capacity. And now we release that breath into places far away. I invite you now to imagine a thought or a belief or a situation that seems limiting. Just allow that to come into your awareness. It may be something that you've had for a long time. Perhaps it's about yourself. Perhaps it's someone else. And now we hear the question, do you want to be healed? Do you want to be whole? And in this now moment, I invite you to choose to let go. Just let it go. It no longer serves us. And now I invite you to choose to realign with that truth of who you are and your wholeness. And we mentally stand up. Stand up. And our view changes. Our energy shifts. And we rise above the circumstances. We rise above that belief. And we remember that we are made in the image and likeness of God. We may even imagine a gentle hand reaching out to us. We feel and know this is our divine nature. It is divine love. And we are loved. And we are love. And we allow ourselves to bask in this love, in this wholeness, in the silence. And as we gently begin to bring our focus back to this time and space, we bring with us this power, this love, this knowing. We allow this energy to rise from our hearts and into our voices as we now join in community in singing, I allow.